Greetings, my friends. Welcome to another Rollin' Rambles. Today, I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to mince words. I'm not going to be cushy and soft. I'm not going to be polite for the sake of some YouTube algorithm nonsense. I'm just going to tell you the truth. And the truth is that the United Kingdom is absolutely screwed. And they're trying to take everybody else down with them. Europe is absolutely screwed, and they're trying to take everybody else down with them. Australia is absolute. Do I really have to keep going on? There are all these countries around the world that are trying to threaten the way of life in America. Now, what happens in the United States, we have the First Amendment, and it basically says the government here can't do anything to stop people in this country from saying whatever they want. But what happens is that the internet is a thing that exists and allows other countries to talk to the United States and vice versa. It enables communication on a global scale. The problem is that much like the United States, except way worse, there are a bunch of patchworks of legal frameworks in every country that often conflict with other countries' frameworks. And the internet is not something that you can just regulate such that every country is happy with it. This is a common problem with any country that attempts to enact any set of rules. If you have a population, and some of that population has one morality, and some other part of it has a different morality, and those moralities have mutually exclusive aspects, there is no way to tailor the law to cater to both moralities, especially if they're mutually exclusive in a way that prevents the two things from ever existing together, even if existing together means that no law exists or that the law prohibits everything. For example, just a loose example, let's use mandatory reporting laws, which actually I believe are unconstitutional in the United States, but my opinion doesn't matter quite as much as the guy with the gavel that throws you in jail. So, mandatory reporting laws in the United States are where certain people that usually are required to care for children or the infirm, if they're aware of abuse or neglect, or just signs thereof, they're required by law to report to the law these concerns, or they have committed a crime by not speaking. That's compelled speech and it's unconstitutional, but the laws are still on the books. And we're going to ignore the constitutional aspect of it for now. So why am I bringing up mandatory reporting? That's like completely left field from this online censorship thing, right? Well, not quite. Because mandatory reporting is the inverse problem of not being allowed to say what you want. If you have free speech, then you can say whatever you want and other people are not allowed to stop you or do anything about it. If you have compelled speech, you're being forced to say something whether you want to say that or not. And the most important thing about a right is being able to actually live by it, actually being able to enjoy the right, exercise the right. But the second most important thing about that right is being able to exercise that right meaningfully, which includes, in many cases, the inverse of that right. There is no point in a freedom of speech if others are not free to hear. Therefore, the freedom of speech comes with, just by the notion of freedom of speech, the freedom to listen, the freedom to hear what someone else wants to say to you. Now, the problem with mandatory reporting, let's assume that mandatory reporting is culture B, and free speech is culture A. So if I am, let's say that, I have this religious attachment to free speech to the point that it's absolute as much as can be possibly laid down, and that forcing people to speak violates free speech. On the flip side, mandatory reporting says, well, it's not okay to not speak in these situations. These are irreconcilable differences. These are things that if there's a disagreement, there is no compromise on them. They directly conflict. Now, why did I bring that up? Because it's the same with countries. You have culture A versus culture B. And if you have the United States versus, the UK, Great Britain, England, I don't know what you call it. I don't know how the friggin' island planet place over there is set up. But if you have the United States against the UK when it comes to freedom of speech and censorship, when it comes to the whole Kids Online Safety Act in Britain, well, that is a prior restraint on free speech under United States law. The government can't just pass a blanket ban on you being able to say or listen to adult speech just because the government says, oh, well, no, you're not allowed to speak. You're not allowed to hear. You're not allowed to buy that magazine, or you're not allowed to visit that website. And yes, I do believe that when laws were passed or whatever that made it so that you couldn't sell certain, dirty magazines usually, that shit's also unconstitutional, but that's for another day, week, or month. The point is, saying that the internet should be forced to cater to this notion that you have several countries that have different ideas about what the censorship of the internet should look like, because they all want to run it their way. The UK wants the internet to conform to the UK standards, and they are trying to go out and quite literally, explicitly punish United States companies. Fine. The British government wants to fine United States companies. And this is not some kind of hyperbole. This isn't something I reached way up my ass and pulled out like some kind of plug that's been rusting up there for years to let it loose. This hasn't been marinating in the bullshit brewery. This is a very real thing. This is a very serious problem. When you have foreign governments saying that American companies engaged in free speech, just because British people can reach out and access them over the internet, must conform to British law. Well, you now have an American company being forced to not exercise their rights under the law of the land that they are based out of, because of some other land saying, well, we're going to come after you if you don't. If you don't do what we want, we're going to get you. And that's a major problem, because that means that America has all these rights that suddenly don't exist because some jackass on the internet, because some jackass in some other country decides they don't exist or don't matter and can reach out over the internet and say, well, on the internet, you have to do what we want. This can't be allowed to stand. This thing where one nation tells another nation's companies what they can and cannot do cannot happen, because it effectively means that you're going to force these incompatibilities to clash against each other. And the ultimate result is that everything ends up being garbage. Everything will end up gatekept, censored, locked behind some kind of ID wall, paywall, AI crap, whatever. There will be no free and open internet. It will be dead. The nail will be very firmly in the coffin of the internet. Communication will no longer be open. I mean, they're trying to get into your chats and stuff now, too. They're trying to force companies that aren't in the US, that aren't even in the UK, to store everyone's encrypted chats in an unencrypted format. So, I have a solution to this, and the whole point of this video is my solution to this problem. It is a bit extreme. However, this problem goes away in a matter of weeks if you do what I suggest you do. I don't have faith that these assholes will do it because they think that, oh no, we'll lose money because we won't have access to those markets. But this is what must be done to solve this problem. Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, Google, Pornhub, all of them, every single website, everything, every major website that's in the United States, that's headquartered in the United States, whatever, every single one that is a U.S. company, and I didn't check to make sure they're all U.S. companies, but even if they're not U.S. companies, if you want this to stop, turn them off. Turn off Britain, turn off Australia. Just those two. Those two alone, your problem is solved. You do not have a censorship issue if you completely disable your website for those countries. You don't put up a banner that says, oh, we don't like your country's laws, so we're doing that. No. You just blacklist the whole IP range. You stop all of the servers from responding to any IP from all of those countries. Every single person that's in Britain, that's in Australia, and any other place that tries to pull this censorship crap, where they try to extend their laws to other things on the internet, making YouTube censor my videos. This actually happened. Some jackass in Australia got my video censored because of a claim of defamation in Australia that YouTube lets you, and there's no real way to go against it. If someone claims defamation in Australia to YouTube, they censor your video, at least from being shown in Australia. What really needs to happen is these countries need to feel the consequences of their actions. Now, we've gotten a, shall we say, a Coke Zero, a Diet Pepsi version of this. We've gotten a tab from the 80s version of this in the form of Twitter, because screw calling it X, that's stupid, have decided to over-censor to make the point. But they're not wrong. Over-censoring is the only way to make sure you don't fall afoul of these weird laws. And the thing is, the UK government's actually saying to X, hey, don't do that, you're going to make us look bad. Well, fuck you! Fuck you! Oh, I'll make you look bad! Oh, you fuck with me, and then I make you look bad by doing what you told me to do? Oh, boo-hoo! Oh, what a tragedy! I feel so bad for the poor Starmer UK government. Oh, I made you look bad on the internet by doing exactly what you told me to do, and it had exactly the response that I told you it would have. Oh, so I could have seen this coming. Oh, that's horrible. I feel so bad. Except I fucking don't. Fuck you. Fuck the UK. Fuck the British government. Fuck Starmer. Fuck Australia. All of you can go kick rocks and suck cocks. I hate you all, and I want you all off the internet. You're not going to do this shit to my fucking internet, to the internet that all of us enjoy, the open communication that we've enjoyed for decades, that brought humanity together, that basically ended racism as a big thing, and then somehow brought it back because, censorship. Yeah, the internet, it's not something that you get to take over like this. Every major website needs to kill all access for all IP ranges in all censorious countries. Because I guarantee you, once these Brits wake up one morning and they go to their phone or computer or whatever, and they can't get their daily, they can't access Instagram and hit on thoughts, they can't get on Facebook and trade pictures of cats and talk about, oh, everything's terrible here, but I'm just a keyboard warrior, so I'm not going to do anything about it. Once they can't go to Reddit and get banned, because that's all that happens there, or go to Blue Sky and get banned and be unemployable, because that's what happens there. But once all their access is cut off, once they can't go to Google and search, once they're forced to find alternatives, and they don't get a notice about it, it's just like, oh, is this down for you? Oh, yeah, Stephanie. It's not down for me over in the U.S. Ha! It's not down for me, bitches. It's only down for you. And it's down for you because fuck your country's government. You need to do something about it. You want your access to Facebook back? See, that's the problem. These censorious governments, you've got to treat these motherfuckers like they're fucking children, because they are fucking goddamn children. They are not adults. They are little bratty fucks that God knows why it is that they're spoiled little pieces of rich shit. But these assholes do not deserve the ability to control anything. They have power that they don't deserve, that they wield like it's some sort of stick that they can just smack anything around with, like a 6-year-old knocking down weeds. That they don't exercise any sort of care. They don't understand nuance. They've written this grand lie for themselves that tells them that they are morally good if they harm everybody else. And fuck your freedoms. And I'm not going to stand for this shit. We need to cut them off. Cut them all the fuck off. Fuck these countries. Fuck their governments. Every last one of them is a bunch of fucking shit. And I don't want to fucking hear anything else about it until you've cut them the fuck off. If you have a website, blacklist their IP ranges. Don't let the motherfuckers use your services. No eBay, No, none of it. No, just every single major website cut all of these countries off. The fucking backlash would be so epic. Just like, what was the thing that they blacked everything out for? I think it was one of those things that threatened freedom of speech on the internet, and all the major tech websites did some blackout. I think it was SOPA and PIPA, but then the government passes SESTA FOSTA, which had the same effect, but for a narrower category of speech. So way to go, dipshits. You resisted one, but then you didn't do it for anything else. You have no balls because the SJWs cut them off. Congratulations. You're all a bunch of cucks, and you all fucking suck. I hate you all because you all don't do what you're supposed to fucking do. You're all useless. And that's the problem. These corporations, these mega national conglomerate fuckstains, they're so worried about, oh no, we don't want to leave the market for a little while and leave an opening for a competitor to come in. There's not going to be a competitor. What the fuck is your problem? And I'm leaving your services because I can't fucking use them. I can't use them. I can't do anything with your fucking websites if you're blocking shit to service some government somewhere that has nothing to do with me and that should have nothing to say and have no control whatsoever over what it is that I'm allowed to see and say and do on the internet, who I'm allowed to talk to. Fuck these people. And fuck you if you support them. You know, just that's it. That's it. This whole video, this entire thing is just one great big fuck you to every last one of these motherfuckers that thinks it's a good idea to shut down free speech. You're all a bunch of pricks, and I wish the worst on you. If I could, I would personally come to every last one of your homes, distribute massive heaps of transparent Legos on the floor in the middle of the night, and throw Annoyatron devices that make little blips once every 45 seconds that are barely audible, but just enough to drive you insane, in the folds of all your furniture, so that you have no choice but to bail out and leave all of it behind. That is exactly what I would love to do to these people. I want them to suffer until they stop being abusers, because that's ultimately what it is. These people are rapists. Collective Shout are rapists. The Australian government are rapists. The UK government, rapists. Plus, they all defend rapists. They have Visa and MasterCard, rapists. Because they have no problem doing shit to mess with you, to take away your ability to live your life as you see fit without your consent, which is what a rapist does. Fuck them. Because you know what? If they had the opportunity, they would fuck you. And they wouldn't use lube, they wouldn't use a condom, and they'd put nails in the baseball bat that they were shoving in your ass. Fuck them. And that's all I have to say. Because if I say any more, I'm probably going to run this car off the road straight into that fucking lake. So, fuck you very much, and get the fuck off the internet and do something about this. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'm such a pleasant person. No, the fuck I'm not. This is really who I am. Go fuck yourselves, every last one of you, you miserable bastards who do this bullshit. I can't deal with it. I'm going to go home and play Subnautica for the 100th time. Good night.